Welcome to Meaningful Mondays with the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, where we only know good people who do great things in our community. Whether you are a volunteer, a donor, or a nonprofit organization, each episode of Meaningful Mondays will celebrate you, our friends and neighbors who have a deep passion for and commitment to improving the quality of life for all in Middlesex County. So let's kick off the week with great conversations with remarkable people, businesses, and nonprofits making a difference right in our own backyard. Well, happy Monday, everyone. It's always a great day in Middlesex County, but for some reason, Mondays are more meaningful. And welcome to the Community Foundation of Middlesex County's Meaningful Monday. And I am honored to have Meghan Turchetti. Did I say that right, Meg? Did I get it right?
Yes, you
So
did.
thank you. So with us today, and Meg, I am telling you, I am so sad that this is your last year on our board, but we know where to find you, and I'm hoping that you'll stay involved with us because it's been 9 years. It's been a wonderful journey for all of us.
It really has. I can't believe it's been 9 years.
You know, it's just crazy. And I have to tell you, and this is for everybody out there, I save Christmas cards with pictures of young people on. And I found Gracie's, one of the first ones you ever sent me. And she's so grown up now. So anyway, that's an aside. So, you know what, Meg, let's start out because I don't know how many people in the world know you, but they all should. So give us a little bit of your background, and then we can go into how you got involved with the Community Foundation.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am a registered nurse and I was working at Middlesex Hospital at the time when I was introduced to you and the 365 Fund, which was just such a great opportunity for me as a young adult to feel that I could truly make a difference in our community with $365 a year or $1 a day.
Let's let everybody know about that though. Tell a little bit because I think it's the best fund ever.
It really is. And we do smaller initiatives throughout the year as pop-up grants. And it's really based on how we feel, what is really important, what's going on in the community at the time. And it's a really great way to get young people involved and to learn more about the Community Foundation.
And it's not just young people who love
It's
that fund.
not,
Everyone's
it's
sort of,
everyone.
it's like, oh, $1 a day, I can do that. And then if
Yes.
everybody pools their money, that adds up to be a pretty significant amount of money. And as you say, the pop-up grants are surprises. They make the
Yes, it's
nonprofits feel
fun.
really good. It's a lot of fun.
And it's a great way for local businesses to get involved. So,
You're absolutely right. So, okay, so the 365, and then what happened?
so I started with that fund and really enjoyed it. And I would say about 2 years later, you invited me to come on the board of directors. And I was so shocked. And I remember being so nervous at the time, thinking there was probably 100 other people that would be a better choice than me.
No, we knew what we were doing.
But I was so excited and willing to learn along the way, and I've really never looked back. It's been the most amazing 9 years, and I really have learned so much. And I believe in 2017 was my first cycle being on the grants committee. And that was so exciting. I was nervous for that too. And at the time, it was a big committee. If I remember correctly,
Right.
we would have a room full of 15 or 20 people.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
And
a
this
couple
is,
of,
I don't mean to, I will, let me interrupt for just a sec. For those folks who don't know about our grants committees, there are multiple ways for the Community Foundation to give grants away. Some are through donor advised funds where the Donors themselves will make recommendations. 365 is a wonderful group effort, to have some fun. And then we have the competitive process. So that's what the grants committee. Oh man, and you all do a lot of work reading those applications and really trying to understand what the needs are. And it's hard to give money away.
It is. It's so rewarding, and it's really my favorite committee that we have. But it's a lot of work, and I have to really give it to my committee members. I mean, it's time consuming and it's a big responsibility.
And they are amazing.
They are. They're incredible.
I mean, I will not be able to remember all the names right now, and shame on me, but the very fact that they are willing to do that research, read all of
Yes,
those, ask really good questions, make sure that they get their questions answered. The staff is willing to help, but it's the most
and
important
it
that
is.
we
I
do.
must say, it's been a lot of change over the last 5 years that I've been chairing grants. And with the uncertain times we've had and through the pandemic, the committee has really done such an amazing job with coming together, always being responsive when we needed them in an emergency, especially during the lockdown days of the pandemic
Oh
when
my gosh.
we really had to switch our thinking over to a human services model for a little while just to get ourselves through that time.
Right, right. And I think you sort of glossed over the fact that you went from 365 to joining the board to being on the grants committee, and all of a sudden you're grants chair. So you're a true leader in the most important thing that the community foundation does.
Thank you. It's been so amazing. And I have to say, for another um, role that I was a little bit nervous about in being so new, you and Thayer have just made it such a fun and amazing process. I've loved it.
So is there anything, let's talk about, that five-letter word that we all hated during the pandemic, pivot. So the pivot that happened. So what stood out to you during that time, other than how responsive and resourceful you and the grants committee were? And yes, we did pivot to human services for a short period of time,
Yes,
because it was so needed.
it
But
was.
what other changes have you seen in the grants committee?
I think the biggest changes that I've seen have been pivoting to the needs of what are happening, within the country. The nonprofits are up against a lot of challenges at this time, and um, they're so determined. They are still they're doing an amazing job, and I think that as a grants committee, we've had to always adjust to what's going on in the world.
Well, I always say, what would we do without the nonprofits? I mean, if you think
Exactly.
about it, they're teaching people to read. They're packing those backpacks full of food for those in need on the weekend. I mean, they're bringing kids to the out of doors. You name it, anything in the community, they're doing it, and
They
we
are.
need to sing their praises even more. But Meg, under your leadership as the grants committee chair, we did do a major revamp of the grants process. So let's talk a
We
little
have.
bit about that.
So in I believe it was 2019, we switched over to a completely paper model where every single one of the grants that we would read would be on paper. Everything went digital.
Hmm.
That was the first big change. It
Oh,
was hard at the beginning, but
right,
I think so worth it. And we've really never looked back with that.
right.
And then a few years ago, we conducted a bigger research project, which we came up with a subcommittee of our grants committee um, that reached out to community foundations across the country, so that we could find out what their best practices are, if we're doing things efficiently, and just keeping ourselves current. And so we have made some changes since that time. One of the biggest things is that we've gone from one big competitive cycle in the fall to two cycles, one in the spring and one in the fall. And I think this has made the biggest difference for the nonprofits.
I think it has because it balances out those who need to apply in the spring for the upcoming fall, and the other way they were always behind. And
Yeah,
and I think it's made a big difference for the grants committee, don't you?
I agree. I feel that our bigger group has now divided in some ways to one or the other for spring or fall. So we have a smaller focus group of members that are discussing each application. And I think having a smaller amount of applications per cycle has really helped us to delve further into the discussions of each application, the merit of each application, and we've had really great discussions
We
in
really
the
have.
voting
And
process.
yeah, and one of the things that I've noticed in the time period we're talking about is that we've seen a lot of newer nonprofits come to us. And
Yes.
I think the change that you've talked about, the two cycles makes it easier going electronically. I think Thayer and Mary have done a great job in terms of streamlining the process, the application itself. So it's not so onerous for those smaller ones who maybe all volunteer.
Yes, I agree.
Has that been easier for, has the application reading been easier for you and the grants committee too?
I really think it has, and it gives us more time to focus on each one.
So, all right, you're a busy lady. You have two daughters. You have your own small business. Congratulations on being a woman-owned business.
Thank you.
And okay, so how do you find the time to volunteer? Because that's a commitment. I mean, I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't have time to volunteer. So, what about volunteering is important to you? Because certainly, and I just found out you have a new puppy, so that's another thing on your to-do list. So, what does it mean to you to volunteer?
To me, it's really giving back. And I feel that there's always time that can be made to do it. You just plan that time in. And honestly, with the Community Foundation, you and Thayer and the staff really make it pretty easy to
Well, that's good to know.
want to do it and to make it work out. And you can get a lot done and still have plenty of time. I've
Well,
found I've never found that it's been too much or too time consuming.
now, so I mean, I'm going to reach back and ask like this esoteric question, but what inspired you to do all of this? Was it a family thing or was it just you with a good heart?
I think it was working within the heart of Middlesex County at the hospital, and
Okay.
then finding out through that and meeting you all of the good things that these committees and the nonprofits are doing that really help our community, and that people are really honestly willing to give their time and their expertise and their services to help each other. And I think that's really important to be able to see and remember. So,
But and I want to steal something from David Glidden, our banker at Liberty Bank, who told us 1 + 1 if you're volunteering equals 3, because you combine forces, combine resources, and that's what we do
yes,
through the community foundation. So you've
it's
always
so
got that
true.
team with you. So is there anything about the grants that you've reviewed that any favorites that stick out in your mind?
Oh gosh, I don't think I could even choose a favorite.
I know,
but
me either.
uh, they're so good. I mean, there's so many different facets of what they do. I mean, I have to say, I'll always love Ray. He just does an amazing job for the veterans
And
with
that's
Pay It
Ray.
Forward.
Yeah, pay forward. And
Yes,
for those of you who don't know him, Ray is a Vietnam vet and he spends a lot of time taking vets out on the Long Island Sound, on his own boat and on his own time. So he is just amazing.
he's always pulled at my heart.
Yep, I absolutely. And what's the favorite thing? Because you grew up in Middlesex County. So now that you've spread your wings from where you grew up, what's your favorite thing about our region?
Everyone just comes together, and there's so many towns, and we're pretty widespread, but I feel like there is a really strong sense of community within all of these 55 towns.
You know what? I would agree with you. I think this is probably the best region I've ever lived in. Not that I've lived in a lot of different ones, but I've traveled to a lot of different places across the country. And this really must be the Connecticut River water. What do you think?
I think so.
So what
Yes.
should I have asked that I didn't ask?
You know, I I feel like it's just been a wonderful 9 years, and I'm just so honored to have been a part of all of this. And I'm excited to continue helping the Community Foundation. Um, I'm excited to continue on the grants committee,
Well,
but it comes with a lot of emotions to,
I know.
be winding down on the board. And it's just been wonderful.
Oh, we'll keep you in the loop. Don't worry. We know where to
Thank
find
you.
you. You know that there's CFMC tattooed someplace.
Oh, yes.
But I have to say, my hat's off to you and thank you because when I did ask you with Wally Jones, who was at that meeting, to join the board, you were a little surprised, but we had done our homework, Meg, and we knew what we were getting, and it was a star. So you've been a rock star of the grants committee and the board, and we thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so
Thank you
now
for having me today.
of course, but so now I know you've got that little puppy. So other than the little puppy, what else are you looking forward to over the next month or so?
Well, so I have my med spa in Essex, which has been really fun. And so I'm getting busy with that and just looking forward to the holidays.
Oh my gosh. Well, happy holidays to you. And
Happy holidays.
thank you for all you have done for the community through the Community Foundation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Meaningful Mondays. At the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, we know that philanthropy matters and philanthropy works. Together, we support the arts, education, human services, animal welfare, the environment, heritage enhancements, and so much more by providing services, programs, and grants to our local nonprofits. We invite you to learn more and share your passion with us. Visit us at middlesexcountycf.org or contact us at 860-347-0025. Together we can make great things happen.